weekend. Woo! That's really not loud enough. Again, who's had an amazing time this weekend? On behalf of Major League Hacking, I really want to thank you for letting us bring you all together. I've personally had a blast meeting each and every one of you, and for those of you that are new, welcome to the community. It's a daunting task organizing your first hackathon, but I know you all will be great. You now have at least 399 plus other people in this room that have been in your shoes before. You're not alone. So I wanted to take this time to remind you why we all came here today. We have a bigger mission. Technology is moving faster, and we need more technologists in this world. Putting on hackathons is just one way to start. At MLH, we're looking to find newer ways to empower more hackers. If there's just two things I hope you get out of this talk, it's the following. One, the power of working together across all events as part of the league is more powerful than just your event on its own. And two, talking to each other more often will reveal trends that can help improve the hacker movement at a much higher level. So what I'll be covering on my talk is a story of how I got into hackathons, and then go into a quick recap of the 2017 season, as Swift has already mentioned, and share some of your organizer stories and announcements from MLH. I'll continue the conversation from last Hackcon on diversity and what MLH is trying to do around it. And I'll wrap up with a few takeaways to take back to the rest of your organizing team. Hi, I'm Chi. I'm the commissioner at Major League Hacking. My role is to make sure you as organizers have everything you need to put on a successful hackathon. My bigger role is to create newer versions of the league that would empower even more hackers than the ones we're currently already reaching. Thank you to all of you who have approached me this weekend with your ideas. I'm looking forward to talking to even more of you in the weeks to come. So my story of how I got into hackathons really wasn't as direct as many of yours. I had my first real glimpse into tech in middle school. I was the first class to attend this middle school in Houston, Texas. It had computers in every classroom. This was a new concept back then. It was revolutionary. I learned a lot. That was my first programming language, was Logo, followed by C++ in high school, Visual Basic, and then SAS when I was working. But unlike many of you, I really hated coding growing up. I didn't see anything but squares and stars, and I didn't even see what a website would look like. So after graduation, I went into finance and did other things I was passionate about on the side. One side thing I planned was a lot of big food events. I love food, if you didn't talk to me before. I helped raise a lot of money for a certain couple of organizations, and it was fun, but it really wasn't what I was looking for. So one day, I met someone who inspired me to look outside of my full-time finance job for something more impactful. His name was Andrew. He also happened to be an organizer for a new hackathon community in New York City called Startup Weekend. So when he asked me to join his organizing team, I said, sure, why not? I didn't even know what a hackathon was, and this was back in 2013. It turned out to be the most transformational experience of my life. You know that high when you get on Monday when your event is over? I had that feeling every single event we put on, and it only grew. I love seeing so many entrepreneurs gain that confidence that they needed to launch their companies with just 54 hours of prototyping and testing. And that energy from the people and the ideas really was what pulled me over to the tech side. And I was hooked. For the next 2 years, I helped grow the community to over 200 plus entrepreneurs. I even hacked a weird vegetable identifier app along the way. And the best feeling I got, really, was when people came up to me after the event and said, hey, your event changed my life, and thank you for believing in me. I loved helping adults realize their potential, but I also knew I needed to empower more people at a younger age, give them the same tools and belief that they could build whatever they wanted to build. So I went on a journey to search for that. One day, Swift found me. He reached out to me personally to share his vision for MLH and empowering hackers for all ages. This was my first time hearing about this amazing community that he's built out. I even reached out to some of you before I even joined to hear your stories and how it was like to work at MLH. And your stories overwhelmingly showed how much Swift cared for this community and helped make your events successful somehow with any resources that he could pull together. There was so much more to be done, though, to grow the community and make it more diverse. So I signed up for this challenge. That's why I'm here today, along with my team. I'm here to help you, the organizers, be successful so that we can all focus on the bigger picture of a more diverse community. Meet Carl and Shai. If you haven't met them yet, you will. They have been your deputy commissioners for the past few years, and they too were organizers just like yourself. They knew every single issue that you've faced and will face. They've jumped on calls all day and night, talking to your admins, helping you find new ways to get money, and talking to whoever they needed to get your stuff done and to get your event happening. Whatever problem you had, they figured it out with you. Our team is specifically tasked to making the league successful, which means we're helping you make you, the organizer, successful. We at MLH are only successful if your event is successful. So count on Carl, Shai, and myself to work with you this year to help you achieve your vision for your event. And don't be afraid to reach out if you have any questions or any problems. We're here to serve you. So that's my story. Now I'll just do a super quick recap of 2017 because Swift has already covered a lot of it in his talk yesterday. So last year, again, the league supported 230 member events between August 2016 and June 2017. That's a 27% growth compared to last year, and it continues to grow. We've interacted with at least over 2,000 organizers in the past year alone. We hear from hackers all the time that the reason they don't attend hackathons is because there isn't one nearby. And last year, the GitHub grant allowed us to support 90 new hackathons in new regions. We made it into 37 states and 14 countries. And we're excited to continue this program again for new hackathons this year. So thank you, GitHub. Last year, across 238 hackathons, you brought 130,000 people to register for your events alone. And of that number, 58,000 hackers attended your event. And this number doesn't even include the thousands that participated in the local host workshops that we've been building out and our local hack day that's around the world. And even more important to note, of the 58,000, half of them are first-time hackers. This number continues to grow, which is really awesome, and we're looking forward to finding new ways to support your event in more regions like local hack day. In total, all across the events in the league, you all raised $10 million to put on these events. You somehow convinced sponsors, administrators, and to put trust into your community to bring in $10 million for a bunch of college students and high school students to put on this event with the goal of empowering more hackers. So that's nuts. Give yourselves a round of applause. We'll be exploring more ways to support you in this efforts later in my talk. So what did hackers want? The way we figure out what hackers want is by compiling all of your data. And a lot of you are probably wondering, what the heck do we do with all this data? Yeah, we enforce the code of conduct, and we figure out a school winner for the league, but there's a much bigger initiative than that. We collect registration, check-in, and submissions data at every event to figure out ways to get more people to your events. 2, we also share survey results that we get from coaches, organizers, and hackers so that you can improve your events for the coming year. A lot of you know that data is only significant if it's seen in mass. And with your information combined, we've been able to share what matters to events across the board. So what do hackers want? One of the things hackers prefer is a smaller hackathon size, less than 300. This also explains why the majority of the events that we've worked with in the past year have fallen into much smaller categories. It's also why we're finding new ways to support even smaller events through the use of the GitHub grant, through local host workshops, and local hack day, which is happening on December 2nd. Our bigger mission, again, is to empower more hackers. So what specifically do they want? Food is one of them. We brought Potbelly to most of your events to save you money and time, and 33% of you used Potbelly because it was easier to manage and was reliable, and you knew it was good. We've probably talked the heck out of Soylent already. We're bringing you Soylent. We've brought you about 22,000 bottles to be exact, and thanks to some of you who carried some of our boxes on this trip as well. We've been working really hard to find ways to save you money with preferred food vendors like Potbelly and Soylent. And some of you have already been able to try some of the new stuff that we're bringing this season. So this season, we're going to be bringing you Awake Chocolate. It actually works because I had some yesterday at 3. It's caffeinated chocolate, and each chocolate is equivalent to half a cup of coffee. Awake Chocolate came to your event, and they loved the vibes of the events that they created, and they wanted to help find a way to fuel your hackers' needs throughout the weekend. But food isn't the only thing hackers want. Activities was another. Hackers wanted activities to rest their brain, and the mini-events were well received. And as Swift mentioned before, a lot of people loved cup stacking. In total, 27,000 hackers attended mini-events in the past season, and we're going to be working with more ways to find different types of mini-events for your events this year. If you have a crazy idea for one, just come talk to us after. So what was the most popular thing that hackers wanted from the league? Obviously, it was the hardware lab. This year, at Major League Hacking, we brought to you over $25,000 of value to all 238 events at no cost to you whatsoever. We believe all hackers should have access to the latest and greatest technology and that they can easily obtain the stuff to innovate on. So by being part of the league, your hackers got to experience a whole lot more technology. And how many of those hackers used our hardware? In total, there were 10,000 checkouts from our hardware lab, and the highest were Oculus Rift, followed by Amazon Echo. Based on your survey responses, we're happy to announce a new hardware device. It's going to be another IoT device sponsored by Qualcomm. Our hardware lab is going to continue to grow over the coming months, so stay tuned for more updates on that. So 2017 sounded pretty awesome, right? Yeah? What's even more awesome were some of the hacker stories and some of the organizer stories that I got to hear prepping for this talk. One of them is Tyler. When we first met him, he was a sophomore studying CS at the University of Michigan. He joined the organizing team for MHacks, which I hope, are they here? Well, where he wanted to help with sponsorships. The idea of selling is something that CS students usually don't sign up to do for fun, but Tyler did it anyway. And in 2016, he stepped up to lead the team on sponsorships. He wanted to beat their existing record of 40 sponsorships. He referred to some of our MLH organizer resources and sponsorship webinars for inspiration. And through guidance, sheer force, due diligence, and a great team, he blew MHack 6 out of the water. He ended up bringing over 60 sponsors, including Walmart, Apple, Google, and Capital One. But the work didn't end there. Tyler knew MHacks had to keep their promise to sponsors and share their amazing results. But he didn't know exactly how to do that. He reached out to John, our co-founder, for advice on what data would be important to his sponsors. We shared a success report we regularly give to sponsors for Tyler to use. And as a result, Tyler was able to effectively maintain communications for sponsors to work with MHacks the following year. So we recognize fundraising is hard, no matter how small or big your event is. And at the beginning of our member calls with you, you shared with us how much money you wanted to raise. Half of you hit that number, but half of you did not. It doesn't mean that the event wasn't successful. It just meant it wasn't a realistic target in the first place. As a result, Shai and Carl oftentimes stepped in to figure out ways to set more realistic targets for you. But more importantly, we want to save you time by developing impactful reports that your sponsors will want to see. So we're presenting the event success report that we're going to be putting together for every single event that we work with this year. The number one thing sponsors care about is being able to explain to their bosses how valuable your event was. And because we have a larger sample size of data across all of the events, we can give you context of your event as it compares to the rest of the league. We know things like age, major, school, gender, race, and even your event experience with your NPS scores matter. We want to show your sponsors attendees loved your event. And we're giving these reports to help you prove those numbers to your sponsors. Now, this is just an initial prototype based on an MLH Prime event we held last year, but you can expect something similar for your event soon. So my next story is about Emily. When we first met her, she was a junior at the University of Alabama studying CS. But unlike MHAC, she didn't have a nearby hackathon to go to. It was at least 3 to 4 hours away from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. She eventually made it to Pearl Hacks in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And this was just when she was just learning how to code. She joined a team where nobody really knew each other. But she ended up placing 6th at the event and was hooked. She went back to the University of Alabama and wanted to put her school on the map as a tech hub. She decided the way to do that was to organize her first hackathon, but she had 2 problems. One, UA wasn't really known as a tech hub, nor did it want to be known for hackers. They wanted to be known for sports. And 2, students there didn't know what a hackathon was, nor did they feel comfortable or skillful enough to attend. This is when we met her. We learned of her dreams and advised her on how to get buy-in and how to get people to attend. We helped her educate people about hackathons from multiple angles. And I remember when my first time organizing, explaining what a hackathon was to my peers and to my adults. It's still difficult today. But she ended up being able to talk to tons of different people on and off campus to ease them of their concerns of attending. The most important thing she did, though, was finding other existing hackathon teams to help her promote her event. Vandy Hacks was also one of those teams. They helped cross-promote her event and advise her of every step of the way. With lots of cross-promotion from teams like Vandy Hacks, Crimson Hacks happened. 200 attendees showed up. So as organizers, you have a ton of things to think about leading up to your event, and registration is really only one of them. On our initial call with you, we always ask you, what is your ideal attendance count number? In total, you said about 75,000 attendees across all the events. We asked for this number in order to help best explain to you how you can prepare to everything from food to experience to sponsors around this number. But what you really hit was 58,000. So that means a few things. 1, you've been budgeting and planning to a much larger number. And 2, you're probably ordering too much food. And 3, your sponsors are not getting as many people as they expected. So we start off every call reminding you, get twice the amount of registrations that you actually want to have checked in the day of. Your data collectively has proven there's 50% attrition from the time someone registers to the time someone actually attends. And we know over-registering by 200% is quite a scary amount, but we push you to do that for that reason. So we're so confident in the 50% attrition number that if you exceed that capacity after following our advice and beat that number, we'll even cover the food costs for that overage amount. So when we look across all of the events, only 21% of our member events hit their actual attendance targets this past year, and we want to change this number. So this season, we're not focusing on just helping you fundraise better, we're also going to help you hit your attendance numbers as well for the capacity of your event, no matter if your venue can hold 100 people or 1,000 people. We're doing this by helping you build a much bigger registration pipeline. So we know from hackers that they don't all want 1,000-person events, but we do know that for your event to be successful, you want to be able to hit your ideal attendance targets and get other people from other events to cross-promote for you. So just like you have the power to get people across your campus to attend, we have the power to support events across the league. And that's the reason why the league is in such a special position to support you. By having the information on all of your hackers in one place, we're going to be able to cross-promote your events to hackers attending other events in your region. Marketing is pretty hard, so we're going to be able to help you with this. My next story is about Pablo. He started coding at the age of 14 back in his hometown, Teotihuacan, Mexico. He attended his first hackathon in Mexico City, and it was hosted with MLH, and it was amazing. He continued attending hackathons in the US and saw all the great values MLH brought to the hacker community, especially around sharing and learning. But these values didn't exist in Mexico. Pablo wanted to inject these values into the new hacking scene in Mexico. We met Pablo because he was becoming a big name in the student hacker scene there. Then he started organizing his own hackathon and eventually became an MLH coach. If some of you aren't familiar yet, the Coaches Program is a great way for organizers to help at other hackathons on behalf of MLH. And we loved what Pablo was starting to build out in Mexico. In fact, even more events in that region started reaching out to us to partner. But the problem was we didn't know the region very well, nor how to provide the same level of support and in-person staff for these events. But we still wanted to help, and we thought Pablo would be a great mentor to new organizers in Mexico and connected him for advice. Pablo helped to be our MLH connector to the world, where English was not the first language. He was super helpful for first-time organizers. Pablo knew that MLH announced a lot of useful information to hackers during the opening ceremony, including the code of conduct and info about our hardware lab. He translated both of those things into Spanish so that hackers could fully understand when they were attending a hackathon in Mexico. So the league is growing, and our team is finding new ways to keep up. And as we continue to look for new deputy commissioners, for now, we still can't turn Shai and Carl into robots. So a lot of you have been doing similar things to help new organizers get off their feet. And today, I'm excited to announce a new membership program to connect veteran organizers to new organizers, but this requires your help. It's called the Junior Commissioners Program. Carl and Shai spend countless hours helping each and every one of you figure out ways to raise money, hit your attendance numbers, and be your voice of reason. They've helped with more events with the same level of support, but we want to do more and do it at the same level where we were supporting a 5-member event league. And as a first-time organizer, everybody remembers how hard it was to get started. Who do you talk to, and what do you do? Where do you even look? So this community in general needs more mentors. I remember leaning on my mentor even just to get them to tell me to chill out and relax. This program will connect you to first-time early organizers around your region to advise them on situations you're already very familiar with. What you get in return is the ability to share your wisdom with more organizers in your region and work with our team at MLH. Talk to us after if you're interested. So the last topic I want to cover is diversity. You've already heard one of our keynotes talk about it, and it's been talked a lot throughout the whole weekend. We know diversity is important. It makes the world better. There's more problems that get uncovered, and there's more solutions that come about to solve those problems. And one of my favorite parts of my new role has been figuring out how to bring diversity to all of your events. As a reminder, here's what diversity includes. Gender and race tend to be the popular ones, followed by many more that we need to look at. So let's look at how diversity exists in our current community. When we look at CS compared to MLH events, we found a much higher ratio of females to males at MLH events. That's pretty awesome. But does focusing on growing just the ratio within CS actually matter? When we break down even further, we realize MLH is already making a good segue into a 50% female to male ratio. But only half of that pool is actually enrolled in CS. When we look at just CS, that pool in total is quite small, with only 97,000 students enrolled in CS alone. So this chart tells us that we not only need to grow CS overall, but find ways to go beyond CS to reach people who are interested in technology that may not be enrolled in that program. This season, we're partnering with organizations that want to do the same thing we're doing and improve access to technology to more people. So I'd like to announce a few partnerships that we have in the works. The first one is CSCW. CMU is known for having a very inclusive program. They even wrote a book about it. And a team of researchers from the School of CS at CMU came to us last time at Hackcon about diversity and wanted to figure out a way to work with us. They saw how the hacker movement was changing the way open source software moves, and that we had useful insight on how hackathons behave as a whole. We're going to be working with them to create better resources for you as organizers to make your events more diverse and ultimately enhance the sustainability of open source software. The next one is a partnership I'm pretty happy to announce. It's Teals. Teals started in 2009 as part of the Microsoft Philanthropy Unit. It currently works with over 350 high schools across 28 states, and it services 13,000 students with 1,000 mentors from across 400 different organizations. We're going to be finding ways to connect them to more people interested in STEM. They are also looking for ways to connect STEM high schoolers to your colleges. These kids really don't know a lot about some of your schools, and this will be a great way for you to mentor and recruit students to your university. We do have a representative here from Teals, John Janin, and he'll be here to chat if you have any questions. Our goal is to make more students diverse within your events. My last partnership I'm happy to announce is a network for teaching entrepreneurship. They're an international nonprofit that's providing entrepreneurship training to young people from under-resourced communities. They empower over 20,000 students each year in the US alone. Students want more opportunity to do self-driven learning outside of their program, and hackathons would be a great way to do so. So we're partnering with them to connect diverse, ambitious student entrepreneurs to your events to learn new technologies that can power their business endeavors. We have Charis Mutimaran and Frederica Chen, who are two TAs from the NFTE community, and you've probably met some of them already. Please say hi to them after if you haven't. All right, so I've said a lot. The 2017 season was pretty amazing. You all did amazing, but we want to do a lot more. We want to mentor you to become a better organizer. We want to help you fundraise. We want to help get more hackers to your events, and we want to make your events more diverse. So I have a couple of takeaways for you to take back to your team. If you haven't figured it out already, the theme we want you to remember is shared success. If you, the organizers, are successful, then we at MLH are successful. So let us help you figure out how to do that. You joined the league not to exist as an individual, but rather as a collective working towards building out an even bigger tech community. So two things matter. The more data and information you share across all of your events, the easier it is to be driving statistical insights on how to make them better. And two, share this success with your sponsors. Use our report to help you. Number two, hackers are everywhere, and we need people to take an even bigger leadership role in tech beyond hackathons. Don't forget that we all started out in the same when we organized our first hackathon, and we didn't know what we were doing. So someone was there to step in to help us. So do your part to give back and mentor to new organizers, whether it's being a coach at an event or being a junior commissioner to mentor organizers earlier in the planning process. Mentor organizers in your region. Additionally, help others cross-promote for each other. Hackers get super excited at the end of your event, so get them to another event nearby. Last, hackers aren't just in CS. Hackers are everywhere. Find them and bring them in. Bring in people from outside of CS to your events. Our technology audience could be even bigger. So let's group together and find ways to make this hacker movement even bigger and inclusive. Remember, at the end of the day, Major League Hacking's mission is to empower hackers. So join us on this mission if you haven't already. I'm Chi. Come talk to me and my team after.